Welcome to the Fixin Your Crown Boo podcast. This is a podcast interview dope people in leadership who are using the model of servant leadership and are driven by emotionally intelligent leadership and skills and framework. They're also passionate about lifting others up to empower their success because the pie is big enough for all of us and we can all find a seat at the table. My name is JD Johnson and I'm your host today. I'm a coach, consultant, and career strategist turned entrepreneur. I'm originally from Toronto, Canada, but I've been living and working in the Bay Area for the last 10 years. I have over 20 years of experience in a variety of industries, spanning from manufacturing, telecommunications, customer experience, retail, CPG, and technology. I've spent the last 8 years as a consultant, and I have a lot of expertise in project, program, and a little dash of change management. My consulting career is where I discovered my passion for leadership development and emotionally intelligent driven leadership frameworks and styles. My goal, my dream, is that I would love to change the organizational culture landscape by transforming the relationship between employers, managers, and organizations. And this is by addressing how new and emerging managers and leaders are prepared for the people side of leading teams. Today, I'm so excited to introduce my guest, Aileen Edwards. She is an executive coach and human resource professional. She draws on a range of models and frameworks in bringing about transformational change. Aileen works with a range of clients and organizations and enjoys working with clients at all levels who want to make changes to move forward in their career and personal lives. Aileen M. Edwards is a coach, a mentor, and a facilitator. And she brings diversity, equity, and inclusion skills to focused conversations that facilitate performance, change, and learning that's relevant to their personal, organization, or business context. Aileen uses her coaching skills and strengths to assist clients to achieve their goals and achieve success by engaging in a learning partnership with them to create purposeful actions for their goals. With over 30 years of experience in human resources, including extensive expertise in the healthcare industry, Aileen has dedicated her career to empowering organizations through strategic HR leadership and transformational people practices. Aileen, is there anything else that I've missed?
I think you've done fantastic. Thank you for the introduction. I am self-employed again, and I do the leadership coach. So I really am looking forward to working with women, especially women of color, to sort of lift them up and build executive presence and strengthen their influence and so on. So that is just an addition to what you have listed in my introduction.
Awesome. Where can we find you?
You can find me on LinkedIn. I'm also on Instagram. And you can email me at amedwards@ameconsulting.ca. I also have a website at www.ameconsulting.ca.
Thank you. And another fun fact, Aileen is also located in Canada. Want to tell us a little bit about your location?
Sure. I live in a little town called Frankfurt, not actually in the town. I'm outside of the town, rural. So I live on 5 acres of property and I love out here. It's so quiet. It's away from the city. I grew up in the city. I've worked in the city for so long. And I'm really excited to be out here because when I'm done working in the city, when I was in corporate, I loved coming here where I could just sit on my back deck and listen to nothing but the chirping birds in the morning or the crickets in the evening. I am about 2.5 hours east of downtown Toronto.
Very cool. That sounds very much like my parents. They love their backyard, love all things green. I didn't do any of that. So just to get us started, I would love to talk about first your favorite quote. So your quote is, if you don't like something, change it. If you can't change it, change your attitude. And I've learned that people will forget what you said, but people will never forget how you made them feel, by Maya Angelou. Want to tell us a little bit about why this means so much to you and why it resonates?
It resonates with me because there's a lot of things that I didn't like growing up. And there's still a lot of things that I don't like now. When I was younger, I didn't have the ability to change it, and I can change it now. But back then, if I didn't have the ability to change it, when I talk about changing your attitude, that's about, do I accept it? How do I move? How do I navigate around it? So I really learned through that. Also, I've learned that the people that I've worked with and I've associated that are in my circle, they really do listen to what I say, but they won't remember what I said. But I know for sure that they'll remember how I made them feel. So that really stuck with me quite a bit.
I love it. Maya Angelou is always so poignant, always so powerful.
Yes.
And I think there's something around when we're talking about leadership, how do you make the people who are supposed to be following you feel?
You want to make sure the people who are following me feel heard, that they have a voice in the room, and that they can be in a communication style thing. People don't like being talked at. They love to be listened to, and they love to be interacted. So I want people to feel included every time they're having a discussion with me.
I love it. I think part of leadership, and I think this is a difference between managers versus leaders, is having those skills to really read the room, having emotional intelligence to understand how or see those shifts in the body language, in how their work ethic is happening, how they're showing up. And really, instead of looking to play that whole blame game, looking to dig deep into what is causing these shifts and hearing them and making your people feel that you're a leader that truly cares.
That's correct. And it all comes down to self-awareness, that emotional intelligence, and making it not all about you. As much as I love everything about me, when I'm with somebody else, it's not always about me. So you need to make it about them and make sure that they feel that they are part of, if we're on a team and we have a problem, that they're part of the solution, that they come to the table and their voice is respected.
Absolutely. And I think you hit on something really interesting and key is when we come to the table, right? We are a team. And being a team is more than that person at the front who's accountable for the results. The team is the one that is helping create the results that you're accountable for.
That's correct. It's not the leader that comes up with all the answers. There's a lot of leaders out there that'll take credit for that. But really, if you are surrounded by a lot of brilliant people, that makes you look good too. So you don't need to take credit for other people's work. You just need to be part of that solution. And when you lift others up, you ultimately lift yourself up too.
Absolutely. I think this kind of reminds me of the idea of, I don't know if you remember back in the day, what was it? Was it called Kung Fu: The Legend Continues? I used to love it. I don't know why, because it wasn't cheesy and corny, but I used to love that show. And I think there was something really cool around the concept of the student becomes the master, right?
Yes.
The master is teaching the student. The master is always trying to help them get to the place where they can overtake them. And then they take pride in when the student can become the teacher.
That's correct. That's really what leadership is all about. You don't need to have all the control and all the accolades. You want to give away those talents that you have to ensure that other people can tap into that and tap into their own potential so that they can grow and they can become you later. A lot of leaders are threatened by that somebody up and coming or smarter than them. I invite people who are smarter than me in the room. I don't have all the answers. So bring it on.
I know. I feel that there is this tension, and I don't know if it's Western culture. So I think I remember in our previous talks, we both have a Caribbean background. And I feel the Caribbean background is a little bit more about community.
True. Absolutely. Our community is large and it extends outside of our immediate family. And I know in my family, we would just get together just for the sake of getting together. Just being in the same room, barbecuing, whatever, outside, and just sharing everything. I find here that it's really more structured and you have to schedule time to get together and all the different things that you want to do. Whereas in the Caribbean, we just like to party most of the time.
I've definitely experienced that, and that is so much fun. I remember as a kid, my house being full of people.
Yeah.
And fun story, my dad will probably kill me for sharing this, but my parents have, between the two of them, there's 27 siblings, or there was at some point. And so my parents, when they moved to Canada from St. Vincent and the Grenadines, they would sponsor their siblings. And apparently my parents sponsored their siblings a little bit too much. And they actually got banned from sponsoring their. So I think that's all kind of a piece of the community that we have, is that they were so about not only they made it to Canada, they made a better life, but they wanted to make sure everybody else in their family got to experience.
Yes, we bring people up. That's the theme.
And I think this is a core component of my mission, is how do we become community? How do we tap into that beautiful, empowering others, being proud when the student becomes the teacher, instead of that tension of, oh my gosh, you're better than me and they're going to like you better. Oh my goodness.
I think it's just who you are and how you are raised. A lot of the way that I am right now comes from our core values. Comes from my mom constantly telling us to treat people the way that we'd like to be treated. So you bring that up and you continue to use that as you walk through life, whether you're at the grocery store, whether you're standing up in front of a meeting at work or whatever. You mirror back to how you would expect to be treated. So when you speak to somebody, be careful about how your words are going to land and what kind of impact they're going to have. Is it going to have a positive impact or is it going to have a negative impact? So really just to think through before you speak.
I completely agree. I feel like I used to get a little bit in trouble because in the business world, I'm very much a people watcher and understanding the dynamics and being very cognizant of what I say and making sure what I say is in the right space, in the right context.
Correct.
And so I don't jump to necessarily always be the first to speak or put my opinion forward. I'm more than willing to let others lead, and I'm more than willing to be a teammate and lead from behind or support the team so that we're a cohesive whole and that we perform together. But I have seen in corporate America where there's a little bit of that, and put yourself forward. And
yes. It's a competition out there, and it doesn't need to be.
Absolutely. I think that's where we see some of the issues in the world in general, is we're competing and we don't need to compete.
We don't need to compete. There's plenty of room for all of us to do all the great things that we want to do.
So as you think about the leadership that you've seen and how community and how your background has really shaped how you're a leader, at the end of the day, what exactly does leadership mean to you?
I think leadership means to me about growing myself as well as growing others and bringing others along. So leadership to me means when I am investing in myself and I'm growing, whether that be spiritually, whether that be education, but also sharing that knowledge with others, bringing them along, like your team, imparting wisdom on them and sharing all your talents with them. That's a true leader to me.
So when you think about your leadership journey, what would you say was or has been the most defining moment in that journey?
Boy, I've had a few defining moments. I think one of the ones I really resonate was becoming a director of human resources. Because I had only aspired to ever become a manager because I wasn't dreaming big enough, right? And I didn't even think I'd get to the manager. I thought I would get there. I just aspired to be a manager. But when the position of a director was presented to me and I didn't have to apply for it, it was great. I actually almost threw up. But then, I was like, whew. But then, you know what? I fixed my crown and I accepted that position and realized that somebody saw something in me. And there have been many people along the way that have seen things in me that I didn't necessarily see in myself until a little bit later. I think for me, that was probably one of the most defining moments in my career, leaping from manager to director, and then, of course, beyond that.
So you mentioned that you didn't dream big enough. Was there any reasons why you weren't dreaming larger?
I think going back to that Caribbean background, We come from a culture where we are not in positions of power. Young Black girls don't get into positions of power. We shouldn't aspire to get into a position of power. We're told to be quiet and just take what's given to you and not really be too loud, because then you'll be seen as obnoxious and so on. So I'm the only one in my family, and I'm number 5 of 6 that's got a university degree, that's got a degree outside of college, that went to college and so on. Because we were never really told. I started working when I was at 50. We went to work to support the family. We grew up poor, but anything that we had, we got on our own. But I knew that there was more than that I needed for me, that I wanted for me. So I, at some point, decided that I was going to dream bigger. That there had to be more. This is not it. This is not it.
I think there's something there around survival, right? Is when your parents came from, like yours, my parents came from poverty and moved to Canada. My mom had to entirely redo her schooling. So she was a registered nurse back in St. Vincent, came to Canada, and they're like, no, it's not good enough. She's got to redo her schooling. And they were starting from zero. And I know we didn't have a lot. And I think there's something about moving from survival mode into thrive mode.
Yes. You're absolutely right. And I think we, as Caribbeans, and I was born in South America, in Guyana, we're always in survival mode. I know Guyana is not a third world country, but it's a relatively poor country, right? It's a very poor country. So we're always in survival mode. And then when we came to Canada, we're immigrants. We lived in public housing, and we're again in survival mode. And the only job my mom could get was working in as a housekeeper in a nursing home. She didn't have an education. She didn't have that background. But here she was, raising kids, working in a nursing home during the day and washing dishes at the Sheraton Center at night just to keep food on the table. So we were always in that survival mode. And I saw that growing up, and I thought, yeah, there must be more to life than this. There must be more. I kind of want more.
I think there's something really moving and deep about being able to see the survival mode and respect without our parents making those choices, without our parents having to dig deep into their resilience.
Yeah.
And you be in survival mode for so much longer that you're like, you know what, let's build on this foundation. I don't want to wait the struggle, the sacrifices that you made for me, and just stay small.
Exactly. And there's a few people in my family that are still staying small. That's their choice. I decided I want to do something different.
Oh, I love it. Yeah. And I think there's something around when we think about leadership and when people are promoted into management, and you mentioned you moved from from a manager to a director. I'm really curious around how did you get prepared by your leaders to become a people leader?
I naturally am a people person, so I love people. I'll do anything for people. Moving into a people leader, I had a couple of good mentors along the way, and I just really saw how they worked with people. And I had some other mentors that weren't very good. So I had people that emulated good people leadership skills and others that had more bullying, poor leadership skills. And I really watched. So I observed and decided I want to be one of those people leaders, movers, right? As opposed to being held back by some of the other people who didn't think I was good enough or who were just really negative in every step that I wanted to make. They did nothing to lift me up. So I sided with people who lifted others up. And that was one of the things that made me want to be in that circle with others that lifted up leaders.
And when you think about your experiences, do you feel that in general, as you look back over your incredible career, do you feel that leaders, managers are given the tools to be people leaders?
No. I'll say that to you is that managers are chosen because they're good at what they do. So if they're great at fixing widgets, that's great, fixing widgets. But let's promote them. Let's make them a manager. They're great at fixing widgets, but they have zero people skills. And that they don't give them the tools to be successful. So they don't give them the leadership development tools. They don't give them the emotional intelligence tools. They don't give them the strengths finders, things like that. So it's unfortunate. Some people make it through what their core values are. They make it through watching other people that they admire and how they treat others. And they also make it by investing in themselves and doing the homework that's not given to them.
Wow. I think that whole thought process of finding your own homework and not being given, I think that requires a very specific kind of person.
I had to find my own homework. So there were things that I went through throughout my career that I did not agree with. So I had to find another way. I was asked throughout my career to sell my soul to do other certain things, and that didn't sit well with me. So I had to find other ways to do things. And when you're in HR, people think that since you're the keeper of files and so on, you're also the keeper of secrets. So they try and infiltrate that, and they want to find out about their colleagues or their direct reports or things like that. And that's not what I do. I don't break confidence. People trusted me to keep their personal confidential information confidential. I was not ever going to be that person to sell them out, so to speak.
And that has to have been like a bit of a hard tension between what people are trying to ask of you versus what you know to be true and right.
Yeah. So true.
So when you think about this, what would you say would have been your biggest struggle as you were taking off in this leadership role and leading people?
Yeah. My biggest struggle was really having my expertise constantly questioned or second guessed. Having people ask for a second opinion of somebody else. Having people believe that I earned my title because someone gave it to me. That type of thing. They moved past the fact that I had a master's degree or I had umpteen years of experience. All they saw was a woman, and they saw a woman in a black skin. So clearly, she couldn't really know what's going on. So let's go ask somebody else who really knows what they're talking about. So that's really been my biggest struggle is having my expertise questioned.
How did you keep from that constant questioning of your expertise from eroding your self-confidence?
It was constantly reminding myself that I worked really hard to get here. I deserve to be here. And just sharing my story about how I got there and how I really know. And so I'll give you an example. When I was doing labor relations and I would give an expert opinion, me being the expert, LOL, I would have, but it's based on the information that I have and the expertise. And I would be asked to get a second opinion from our labor lawyer. So of course I'd go call the labor lawyer and get the opinion. And you know what he'd say to me? You were right, Miss Edwards. You're absolutely right. And so I would go back to that person and say, so I called the labor lawyer, and guess what he said to me? He said, you're absolutely right. And that advice that you gave was the right one. So I also made sure that, yeah, I'll go and double check for you, but here's what they said. And just sort of remind them that I actually do know what I'm talking about. And that's been supported by your second person.
That has to definitely be frustrating.
Yeah. Because again, being second guessed and knowing what you're worth and people couldn't see beyond the gender or the color was really frustrating. And having to constantly work harder. We have to work twice as hard just to get that kind of respect. Right?
Yeah, that is definitely something I feel I've seen in the corporate world, and it can definitely be frustrating. So hopefully throughout your career, that was not your entire career is being second guessed.
Oh, not at all. I had some amazing people that I've worked with. I've had some amazing mentors and people that really saw the value that I brought to the table and really saw what I was worth. And even people that gave me feedback that helped me, one of them being the labor lawyer, taught me a lot about labor relations, taught me a lot about the labor law, and really helped me get more experience in that space. So there was lots of people that saw me for me and helped me to get further by sharing their knowledge with me.
I love that. And I think that's a piece of the whole idea of lifting others up and being uplifted and sharing your good fortune for having people who believe in you and paying that forward. Yes.
And that's really important for me to make sure that I do that, because I had some fortunate times in my life. So I want to pay that forward to other people. I love being treated a certain way by certain individuals. And I like to treat my direct reports and people that I coach that way. I also have had some unfortunate situations where I wasn't treated very well. It didn't feel good. And I would never want to do that to anybody else. I would never want anybody to feel poorly.
I was talking to someone the other day, and our conversation was around how bad experiences can also shape you as well as good experiences. And I think that's a really key learning right there when you're treated poorly, when you've had situations where someone made you feel small or frustrated, being able to internalize that, and instead of paying that forward, saying, I never want to feel like that again. And I never want anyone else deals with me to feel how I felt in that moment.
Yeah. So as I mentioned before, people in your circle can either leave a positive impact on you or a negative impact on you. And what will you do with either one of those?
Absolutely. I think negative experiences are so important. They suck in the moment.
But you learn and grow from them.
Yeah. They can so suck in the moment, but I think it's really about what do you learn from them? There's a quote. Exactly. I'm so terrible at remembering who did the quote, but it's not about you falling down. It's about how you get up and how you move forward.
Don't stay down. And if I had stayed down, I would never have gotten past maybe director, but I wanted more. I wanted to be VP. I wanted to be something more than that because I knew I could. And I knew that what I had to offer was really great. And there were lots of people to help me get there. And then there were lots of people that weren't very happy that I got there.
So when you think about the people that supported you, who would you say was your biggest shiro or hero or biggest supporter?
Yeah. My husband and my family. That throughout all of the trials and tribulations, they've been there supporting me in whatever that I've done. They supported me through the late nights. They supported me through the mental stressful days. And when I was sick, because I didn't think I could slow down and take care of myself. So I just kept motoring through. And so those are the people that supported me from a familiar perspective. There's lots of other people that coaches and mentors and so on that I work with now and leaders that sort of stuck with me. And I've had friends for over 50 years that are still my friends because they supported me in all the things that I've done since high school. But I have to say my husband and my family, they're my biggest fans.
I love that. I will say this proudly and without shame. I'm daddy's little girl. I will always be. He's my biggest rock. He's my biggest supporter. So I totally understand how family can be so key in keeping you grounded and having that sounding board, that good advice when you're ready to keep going.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm an extreme extrovert. So I go all the time. And when I'm facilitating, I'm on all the time. My husband is an extreme introvert. So we work well together and he grounds me. He gets me to settle. He gets me to just slow down and smell the roses. So that's the great thing when he can see that I'm exhausted and so on. He can step in and say, okay, let's do this. Let's do that.
So key to have those people in your corner because we can't always be on and we can't always be positive as much as that might be your natural nature. The world is going to fight you a little bit on that.
Yes.
So as you think about your leadership journey and you think through what you've done, which has been incredible, how would you say what your leadership style is? Like, how does your leadership style look like and how does that show up at work?
I think my leadership style is more of an affiliative leader. So I tend to build bonds, emotional bonds with people. For me, people come first. When I put people in front of what's going on and building those relationships, I'm a big relationship builder. That's how it shows up for me at work. It shows up in team meetings and other meetings. When I'm a supporter on a board, when I'm a board member. For me, it's all about building relationships. So being that affiliative style leader is really key for me.
And what do you think that comes from your extroverted nature, or is it just your love for people? Because I think earlier you said you're really a people person.
Yeah. I think a lot of it comes from my mom. My mom loved everybody. Doesn't matter who you were, what you did, what title you held. She always was, and again, glass full. So I'm that kind of person. I've always learned to be that extroverted self. And so I will make a friend in an elevator going from the ground floor to the 30th floor, right? I will talk to anybody. I don't care who you are, what you look like, what title you hold. So I love people. I love building relationships. I'm very trusting. Yeah, so I think that for me, it comes by naturally. And my mom, having nothing in her whole life, still had maintained this positive persona so that you could do anything you want to do. And it doesn't matter that you didn't get the Barbie for Christmas. It's okay. We can have this instead and things like that. So I think a lot of it I owe to my mom. And then there's been other people that I have followed along through my career. I tend to stay on the positive side of things. I subscribe to positive quotes and positive things, positivity that come my way to lift me up. I tend not to be in a negative space because that saps my energy and that makes me sad. And so I do not surround myself with negativity. I don't do well with people who see the world through half empty or empty glass.
I can totally relate. I think I like to stay in what I call my Zen content bubble, just generally perky, bubbly, and laugh at myself. If things are going poorly, I'm going to try and find the humor in it, because concentrating on the negative side of what's going wrong and all the things that are going wrong feels like this death spiral.
Yep.
And I don't like to sit in it. So I'd rather make fun of it, fun of me being, oh, you're being all mopey. Come on, girl.
Yeah.
Is it really that necessary? Is it that serious?
Trying to move people out of that.
Just kind of keep that moving, because I think it's our state of mind and how we move through the world and how we keep ourselves positive is really key to being able to push through. There's a lot of negativity out in this world. And I think if you focus on it, it'll just drag you down.
So true. And I've had my positivity used against me. I can't be happy like you all the time. Okay. It's just who I am. I don't wake up in the morning and turn on the happy button. It's with me all the time, right?
Absolutely. So would you say being able to stay on the positive side, having a glass half full all the time is your superpower?
I think that is absolutely a superpower of mine, is just being able to see the world through those kinds of glasses, not necessarily rose-colored, being able to see the world from a positive perspective. There's a lot of ugly things in the world, but I like to choose to see it from a positive perspective. I think another one of my superpowers is listening. It took a lot of courage for me to just shut up and listen, because I'm an extrovert. I do a lot of talking. There was a time where I needed to fill the gap. I wasn't very good with silence, that awkward silence. But I needed to understand that if I had to learn to listen. And that became something that I wasn't great at before, but I'm really super great at now, because there's a lot of people that have some excellent things to say and things that I might be interested in. And if I didn't shut up for a minute, I might have missed it. So that superpower comes in handy when I'm coaching. I do a lot of listening, less talking, and it really works out well for me.
I think that's really interesting that you bring up the coaching side of it. I'm working on getting my accreditation from International Coaching Federation.
Good for you.
Thank you. And I was looking over, because I'm studying for the exam, I was looking over the competencies. And I think something that my journey in doing this accreditation is this idea of making space for other people.
Yes. And it's hard when you're an extrovert sometimes to make space for other people, because you just want to fill the gap. But I've really concentrated. When I did my master's degree, and it's a Master of Arts in Leadership, one of the exercises we did was a listening exercise. And I think that would really help me to hone into it because we had a partner and we couldn't speak. We had to sit in the silence while the partner spoke, and all we had to do was listen. And that was really uncomfortable from the first few minutes. But after a while, it just became a rhythm. And it just became something that I do now, because one of the things the professor said was, you'd be amazed what you hear when you actually and listen to body language, observe other things other than just words. It's true.
Yeah. And I think as I went through my accreditation or going through the process, it really helped me hone in on that listening skill and that being able to pause and hold space for another person's thoughts. Being bubbly and perky, that does mean you talk a lot and I'm a little dramatic.
Yes, absolutely.
So as you think about your superpowers and how you've moved through the world using the positivity and listening, what was the moment when you're like able to own your superpowers?
Oh, geez. There have been many times when I was confident in my abilities. And I think, it's interesting, now that I look back now, I think as a young girl, I was always just a confident person. Not cocky, but very confident in my abilities. And when you are a young Black girl who is confident, people don't look at it that well. So I think there have been many moments throughout my career where I was like, said, I got this. I'm good at this. And that for me was being true to be confident in my abilities to do something. I never just went and did something for the sake of doing something. I always knew what I was doing. I did my research. I felt good about approaching things that way. So there have been lots of times where I'm like, yeah, I got this. I'm good. All right, let's move forward.
So thinking about your superpowers and learning how to embrace them and be like confident in that, what would you say are the things that you still need to work on every day?
My time management, not overstretching myself, because I'm a people pleaser. I say yes to everything, right? And the next thing I know is I'm saying yes to everybody and I'm not saying yes to myself. So it's really learning to not overstretch myself. So now I've invited my husband into my business, and so he can see my calendar on the wall and he can see when I'm filling things in, and he looks at these, yeah, that's a pretty busy calendar. There's lots going on. And he will say, why don't we just book Friday and we'll go golfing? So he'll help me to just take a Friday off. And actually, I take all Fridays off now. I don't see clients on Fridays. I do work behind the scenes, but it allows me that ability to just not stretch myself thin 5 to 7 days a week. I keep working on my time management.
And as a solopreneur, that is, you're wearing a lot of hats. So it's really easy to just want to do everything and keep doing everything.
Yeah.
So as we wrap up today, what would you say is a message you want to leave with the audience?
Wow. I want to tell the audience that it's important to just be yourself, whatever that self is. If it's an introvert, it's an extrovert. Be confident in your abilities. Don't be afraid to shine. Never shrink, especially in the corporate world. And now that I'm working with women of color, I'm really helping those women of color feel like they belong in executive spaces and not have anybody else tell them that they don't. Because there's a lot of that's gone on throughout my career where I've been told no and I've been knocked down a couple times. And I want to leave the message to say, surround yourself with people who will take you places, not bring you down.
I love that. I feel as we get older, we start to be able to embrace the concept of we don't have to make ourselves small, and we can embrace who we are and lean into our good pieces, lean into our strengths.
And we all have good pieces, and it doesn't matter what other people think or tell you. Don't listen to that noise. Listen to your values, listen to your heart, listen to where you come from, that type of thing.
Thank you. I really appreciate having you today. This is such a phenomenal conversation. And I know our audience, when I release this, will get so much out of it.
Thank you for having me. I really enjoyed the conversation. Thank you for allowing me to share things about myself and how I can go forward, how I am moving forward to help people. My goal is to continue. So in corporate, I struggled a lot and I didn't have anybody who looked like me to navigate some of the things that I had to navigate. My goal is right now is to be the coach that I didn't have when I was moving through the ranks.
Oh, I love that. And I think sometimes we forget how important it is to have people who look like you.
Oh, yeah. I had some really great coaches, but they didn't have my lived experiences. So it was hard to connect with people that didn't walk in my shoes.
Yes. I was thinking about Barack Obama being president and seeing in Western civilization a Black man, and how Michelle just embodied grace and power. And I think watching how that has played out in the world, super interesting to see how it's inspired a new generation of young Black people.
Oh, absolutely. And I think it needs to continue to inspire this generation, no matter what the negativity is out there. And there's a lot of negativity. It's important for people to really live within themselves and believe in themselves and to move forward, because there will be people out there that'll tell you can't. You need to be the one to say you can.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for today. And that's it, everyone. It's the end of our episode of Fixin' Your Crown Boo podcast. Can't wait to share this. And thank you again for joining us on the show today.
Thank you for having me. I hope you have a wonderful evening.
And speaking to the audience, thank you. I'm on LinkedIn as well underneath Jay Johnson, Jayde Johnson. And you can find me on pretty much Instagram, Mastodon, Blue Sky, Facebook, and anywhere else on the web by going by J² Elevate Consulting. To my audience, hope you enjoyed today's session of Fixin' Your Crown Boo. You will be able to see us upcoming soon. Thank you very much.